Hey there, guys. So, these are two of the individuals that I coach. They're both twins. One pulls sumo and one pulls conventional. And then how that carries across to their squat and their squat technique makes quite a big difference. So, person A then took a much wider stance, and they're the sumo deadlifter, versus person B. You'll see, his stance isn't as wide. And he has more control on the way up. He's a slower squatter. Person A, have a look at their technique. You'll see that they're really fast out the base, and then they sort of hit that midpoint, and then it's quite a grind on the way up. Versus this squat, have a look at it. Stance isn't as wide. You'll see, he's a slower squatter in general, but there's a lot more, I'm going to say, control and strength on the way up. Person A is squatting, 230 kilos versus his 220. That's just because they're, person B is a week behind in terms of their programming. But yeah, I was just wanted to highlight a few little differences. I think the main difference with, deadlifting sumo, you're going to take a wider squat stance because you're stronger through your adductors and glutes, and you're going to get a lot more, bounce out the base because of that short stretch reflex that you have. If you're more a conventional deadlifter, you'll find that, your squat is going to be a little bit slower, but you're going to have a lot more lower back strength and, just general upper back strength to help you, see out the lift. And this is simply because, when you deadlift sumo, and if you're doing it correctly, you're going to have a much more vertical torso, and your hips are going to be closer to the bar at the start, and you're utilizing a lot more leg to get the, lift, completed. Versus if you're deadlifting conventional, your setup's a fair bit different, and you're relying a fair bit more on your lower back to help complete the lift. And then even when it comes to the lockout and the rest of it, because you're in a different position, your lats are going to have to work a lot harder, and so is the rest of your mid to upper back. So when that carries across to squats, if you're a conventional deadlifter, you'll be able to find you'll get away with a little bit more forward lean in your squat, and that's simply because you're just stronger through your back in general. There's obviously going to be exceptions for the rule, but if you have a stronger back, you're going to be able to pull yourself back into position. Versus if you're more a sumo deadlifter, as soon as you get that tilt forward under heavy load, you're going to get buried. You just don't have the same degree of general upper back development. You'll have a lot more in the way of leg development and the rest of it. But as soon as you start to tilt forward, you're causing your spinal erectors and everything else to work ridiculously hard in order to help bring you back. A way of combating that would be probably throw in some light good mornings, reverse hypers or back extensions, whatever you want, just to help bring your lower back and general back strength up. If you're more of a conventional deadlifter, and you're leaning forward a little bit too much, maybe think of, working a little bit more on hamstrings and glutes so you're a little bit stronger, so you can sit back more in the squat and keep, the center of gravity more underneath your hips, so you have a more upright squat. So coaching these two, I have to give them, even though they're twins and identical twins, I have to give them different assistant exercise work. So person A who's squatting, he's going to have to do a fair bit more in the way of upper back and lower back work, versus person B, I'm just going to get them to do a fair bit more hamstring and glute work. Each to their own. If they want to deadlift conventional sumo, I personally prefer conventional, just because I want to be strong all round, especially when it comes to the squat. I already have a discipline that is assessing the strength of my legs. I'd rather have another discipline assessing the strength of my back, as opposed to it being legs again. But everything comes down to personal preference. So, in this next comp block that I'm doing, I'm going to have to throw in a little bit of sumo deadlifts just to help, strengthen adductors and glutes to help carry across to my squats and my deadlifts just in general, just to make sure that I keep my hips low at the start. So yeah, this is just a breakdown between, two individuals. Hope you got a little bit out of it. If you guys have, further questions relating to squat technique or, choosing your assisted exercises and why, comment below. Otherwise, hit like and subscribe and have a great day wherever you are.